Roll call for the City Council meeting of Wednesday, August 2nd, 2023. Mr. Nelson, Mr. Brzezinski, Ms. Faulkner, Ms. Flores, Mr. Keys, Mr. Troop, Mr. Witherspoon.
Moment of silence, please.
Just a couple announcements to lead into that. During this moment of silence, if we could remember Patrol Sergeant Dave Stunk, and then also congratulate and consider Michael Outlaws. This is his last week as community liaison before he takes a new position with the U.S. Department of Justice as a conciliation specialist headquartered in Pittsburgh. His work there will be facilitating, mediating, and training for community problem-solving abilities and strengthening to address conflicts. So,
Dear Heavenly Father, we come before you first of all grateful and thankful that you have allowed us to assemble into these chambers on this day. We just ask by the power of your Spirit that you help us make good and prudent decisions on the behalf of the city and its residents. We want you to just pause and send special prayers to the officer who was shot and to his family, and we wish him a speedy recovery, oh Lord. We ask that you look out over everyone else who has lost loved ones and is in mourning, and those who are in need, and we ask this in your name. Amen.
Mr. President,
yes.
I'd like to send a special message out to a young man. He's with us today. He was a young man, Jamal, who got shot. And he'll be introduced to us shortly.
Pledge allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I have a motion to approve the minutes of the July 19th City Council meeting and bills for payment on August 4th and 11th, whatever those dates are. Mr. Brzezinski, Ms. Faulkner, Ms. Flores, Mr. Keys, Mr. Troop, Mr. Witherspoon, Mr. Nelson.
All right, we have a presentation from Jacob Jones, Executive Director of CAM. Give us an update on some of the community programs.
Thank you, Council, for your time. So I have a brief PowerPoint just to go over kind of what we've done this quarter so far. As I mentioned, we do receive funds from the City of Erie, so we like to be a good steward of that and show you kind of the value we're providing and helping our citizens overall. So when you look at our second slide here, you can see from April to June, some of the things we've done in 2023, increasing our membership, the number of reservations that citizens have made over the last 3 months. You can see that there were 237 separate reservations in that time period, and people love working with the DSLRs and the field cameras, so a lot of people are out there taking photos of our community, taking photos of events, putting them together, creating videos of events as they happen across there. On the programming side of things on our channels, on Spectrum, VNet, Roku, Apple TV, and our video on demand services, we had 1,014 total shows for a total amount of programming of over 3,000 hours for the community that are all provided commercial free and accessible to anybody who has the internet, cable, or any number of platforms that are available we go on. And our video on demand as well has been increasing. We're averaging about 400 people per show, and with approximately 6,000 unique viewers per year accessing that content through our website. And then on the educational side, we taught 15 different classes with 35 different residents, which covered a wide variety of media production, video production, and media education, so they can continue to produce the type of content that they want to see in the community. Some highlights from some new programming we brought in for the community. One is Films for Justice. This is a video series that discuss in-depth issues from things like nuclear weapons proliferation, the wrapping up of the civil war in Syria, things going on in Ukraine, historical context of American slavery, all these types of things. So these are 45-minute to 60-minute programs that are really in-depth. They have a ton of great experts on them, so there's a lot of really great content there for people to enjoy and engage with. The next one is a show that recently just wrapped up its first season. This is Health Hits Experience. This is a completely Erie-based production, so all of the crew, all of the actors, all of the sets that were designed and everything were shot, filmed, edited, and produced here in Erie. They produced, I believe, over 185 hours of content last year, and they're about to enter their season 2 as well. So this is a great kind of thing to show what the citizens in our area are making and what people are engaging with. The next one is some of our more civic-minded things. So not only do we cover a lot of the meetings for the city of Erie, including city council right now, we also have a lot brought in from the state as well. So the PA House and some of the PA Senate and their subcommittees are on there where they're discussing issues that are relevant to all of us. Just last week, we put up the PA Liquor Control Board's meeting where they were discussing how liquor licenses are going to be handled in the future, the number of them, things that directly impact a lot of small businesses in our area. And then the next one is Both Sides of the Bar, which is a program that recently restarted. It focuses on issues of criminal justice and the prison system within the United States. So they actually talk with experts, they talk with people who have been in the system, both as people who were incarcerated and people who worked with people in that system. And it's a really interesting program to see a lot of the aspects of the prison and criminal justice system that we don't get to see every day. And then lastly, just some of the in-kind support we provide to citizens. So any citizen can become a member for $60 per year and get access to everything you see on screen there. A lot of different things go on. We just finished up our first summer camp with the Urban University through the Erie City Mission, and we're actually starting one next week. So we're very excited about that. And that's all I have for you for this quarter.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Moving on to repository sales. Do we have any repository sales? Do we have any repository sales? Do we have any repository sales? Meeting's available for public comments. If you have a public comment, you have 5 minutes. Please present your name and address at the beginning. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Roosevelt Benjamin. I reside in Erie, PA. This is a friend of mine. I want to introduce you guys to him. About 2 Mondays ago, Jamal is a member of Mel Witherspoon Summer League, and he was accidentally shot on Monday, 2 Mondays ago. So I'm here to speak on basically something that Mr. Spoon, we call safe hours at Spoon Summer Court, and those are the hours between 5 and 9:30, 5 and 9 o'clock every day. I'm a big part of my community. I know a couple people on the panel, and I just think that we need more of those safe hours. Spoon's been doing it for 33 years. That's just not enough for our community right now. Gunfire, rapid gunfire, stuff that's happening in our community is just too much right now, and it's hard to control with I have a group myself. It's called MOC, nonprofit 501c3, and a couple of the members of our group is here, and we have our boots on the ground every day in the community, patrolling Spoons, just patrolling the areas. No, we have no funding, we have nothing, but that's our passion. And I'd just like to speak to you guys about something that is put into our community is our leaders. And nothing negative, but at the same time, we can't let you guys choose who our leaders in our community are, and we don't see them. I don't want you to say, this guy, and this guy, because he sits on a pulpit and he has a high rank in a different job, is our community leaders. I'm in that community every day, 24 hours a day, from the west side to the east side, and we have bad gang problems. Our kids can't cross State Street if you're from the east side. Our kids from the west side can't cross State Street because of the west side or the east side. So those are the problems that we have. And we have a couple members here with our group that are able to go into these communities and do research and do outreach to help our community get better, but it's the funding problems. I'm not saying you guys fund them, but the funding goes to the people up here. These kids never see the funding. These kids don't see who you guys and who the community and who the media portray as our role models. We don't see them. And I know I am one. I see him every day in passing, every single day. Personally go pick him up and sign him up for spoons and all his friends. Those are the leaders in our community who need the help. Just because they know people in the back door, shake those hands in the back door meetings, doesn't make them our leader. Like, we need you to walk with us. We need you to show up at Spoons. We have 500-600 kids there. Come be the leader there and meet these kids who's not getting anything from you guys, not you guys, but, getting the funding. These are the guys who's not getting anything. I mean, nothing. So that's the concern in our community. We hear gunshots. Maybe you guys didn't even notice was a 9-year-old that was shot the other day. But we are in touch with our community every single day. As soon as it happened, went to the mom house, talked to the mom, took stuff over there for them and the family. Like, we do this every single day. Gunshot victims, people who's been killed, we take food, water, stuff out of our pockets. We don't have no funding for it, but we've been doing it for years on top of years on top of years. And all I'm here is to tell you, Mr. Spoon, I thank you for the safe hours that you do provide for us in our community. And you are one of our community leaders, and thank you.
Thank you.
Want to say something?
Thank you, Mr. Spoons.
You're all right. So. When y'all sleep at night, just think about, like, these are the kids, 9-year-old kid. Like, no one has reached out to them in the community.
I want to thank you very much, Ro and Jamal.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Rosie, those pipes getting a little bit thin.
Excuse
I'm
me.
teasing you about those arms.
Oh,
Hey, well, thanks for coming down here today, man.
Yeah, thank you.
I always tell you, if you ran it from there, I think you would win. I mean, he's really that big of a person in our community, to be honest with you. I mean, you might not know that, but, his influence is big. So
Yeah.
thanks for all you do, Ro. Appreciate it.
Yeah, and I wanted to address the young man,
Jamal,
I just don't want you to let this discourage you. We want to see great things out of you, and we want you to continue on a good path. Don't let this make you sad or bitter. We hope is that you get stronger and that with the help of the people around you, you succeed.
thank you, Mr. Reese.
Good morning. My name is Bill Heath. I'm one of the co-members of Men of Community. And I moved here from San Diego 3 years ago and had worked with kids out there for 40 years. I originally from Erie and moved back here 3 years ago. I live outside the city, but the first thing I did was get in contact with people in the African American community to connect with inner city kids. So I've worked with the last 3 years with the Metro Football League. Mr. Witherspoon's, he and I become friends through his phenomenal efforts over many years in Erie. I was a young boy when he was playing basketball again, and he was one of my idols. So I'm not that much younger than him, but anyway, my concerns are very basic. It's about love and care for kids. You know, we have to forget about the politics, forget about what level we're at in life. I was a successful business guy in San Diego, still have a business there. That doesn't mean anything. It doesn't matter the clothes I wear. It's basically what's here, and we're missing it. We're missing it as people, period. When I came back to Erie, one of the things I thought, there's not that much change in Erie. Not that much change. I was gone 40 years. I used to come back here every year because I have family here. And some of the same roadblocks. And, you know, I run a business. The old style business was the vertical where the guy at the top, all the communication from top to bottom. Today's world in business, everything's horizontal. This is what we need to create in this city. The horizontal communication where I'm accessible. Anybody want me to do anything for kids? I'm 25 minutes outside the city. I can be here in 25 minutes. And it's the same thing. We all need to be accessible to one another. I've made a really, really great effort to be involved in the city and sat with 35 coaches in Metro Football League. And just because I care about kids. And these aren't paid positions. What Roe does, what Anthony does, we've got to be really close friends just because we care. We need your help every day. You know, I was in the Metro every Sunday. I went to Metro Football League. I never saw a city leader there, and it shouldn't matter. It shouldn't matter about politics. It shouldn't matter about anything other than caring for kids. When you have 390 kids in a league, and we don't have anybody in this room coming to see them play, every Sunday I went. I'd go to Mass. I'd tell my wife I'm gone for 3 hours, just because. That's what we got to have. We really need your help. We really need your help, and your everybody, just not in this room today, but every day we need your help, because these guys are dedicated. I'm an old man. These guys are young guys. This is the next group, and the kids are the ones that are suffering. There's nobody else that's suffering in this city more than the kids. And everybody says the violence is terrible, this and that. You know, it's all about role modeling. It's all about coaching, role modeling, being there every day, and working together. And that's what we need from you guys. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Bill. Good morning, everyone. My name is Lionel Hamer. I've been working with Mel Weatherspoon for the last 33 years out of Spoons Court. On the behalf of being here for the kids, you know, like, it's a blessing to see them to be out there every day between 5 and 9 having a good time and enjoying themselves. Not only that, they'll be getting an opportunity to be able to speak with us so we can mentor them in terms, you know, about not only basketball, but things in life in general. And like Bro was saying, you know, y'all need to come out there to see that, to see what the kids have, who they're working with, you know, to talk to them, mentor them, let them know that everything should be good. You know, to watch them to come out there, when you have a 5-year-old or 6-year-old kid come out there and want to know how old you have to be to play, and we have to tell them 9 years old, and they wait till their turn come. And once they get there, they enjoy that. They enjoyed it because they're waiting, and it's a beautiful thing to be there, because I've been there, like I said, 33 years, and I love working with kids, and I've been doing it all my life. I was a assistant basketball coach with Strong Vincent, with Shannon Pulliam for 17 years, and that's one thing that I base myself on, is like doing what I can within the community for the last 33 years, dealing with these kids, you know, knowing not what's going on in their household, what they might be going through, you know, what might be happening, but sometimes you get a lot of them, they may open up to you, talk with you, and then you try to, you know, explain to them and try to give them a general idea, you know, how to going about life, and just not only up living in the city of Erie, because we have seen a lot of violence, you know, over the years. The young man that y'all speaking of right there, Jamal, he's like a nephew to me. He's like a nephew. His mom's is like a niece to me. And to hear that, to see things like that happening, it really touched my heart. It really makes me realize, understand that, man, we need to do a lot more in this city, to help these young kids, because right now, it's about to get out of control. If we don't put a handle on it right now, do what's right, I see you guys sit up on this panel, but it would be nice to see you out in the community too as well, showing y'all support as well. Let them know that y'all just not only just here just for this, but for them too also. Okay, and it would be great to see y'all. Be loving and kind and caring. All right, because that's what it's all about. Each one teach one. Each one have to love each other. We always say it takes a village to raise a community, but it takes also, man, togetherness too. And understanding and being there and caring about these kids. Because if we don't get them now, we're gonna lose them later. Not only to the streets, but to whatever. So let's get a handle on it. Let's grab a hold of it. Mel, I appreciate you, man, for the time that for the opportunity you gave me to be able to be part of Spoons. So I'm almost about to go in tears up here. You know what I mean? Getting very emotional. All right, so if we can also get y'all guys to step up, do what we need to do in this community, it'll be a great big help. Thank you.
Mr. President, Lionel Hamer is my chief security, along with the city police, and his nickname on the court is Big Dog. And they listen to him when he talk.
Yeah, my cousin's very special when I'm there. He tells me all the time, man, I'm not get people fearful of you out there. So when the kids see that, they'll know how they, control themselves and be able to behave. Because when you're not there, you just have a hard time. When you're there, man, it's all love and playing game.
Can someone make sure that we have a list of the schedules for the Metro Football League for Sundays? I don't have that information. I know we get information on Spoons games, but I don't think we get any information on the Football League. It'll be nice to know because we're off on, we work a whole other job, so it'd be nice to know on our free time what's available so that we can probably go to it, because I try to make sure I show up at as much as possible, and I can sit through a football game or two.
That was the Jones that came in last year. They gave us the schedule, so they'll, yeah, I bet. And Mike and I went to a couple of their practices, ran some sprints. No, we didn't run sprints, but we went to some of the practices.
All right, guys, I'm Anthony McGowan at 5226 Lexington Street. It's in Mill Creek. I don't live in Erie, but I own several properties here in Erie, and I work and do business here in Erie, city of Erie. I am part of MOC, which stands for Men of the Community. We are men of the community, and I want to invite all of you guys to our 5th annual Fun Day, Community Fun Day. It's a community building fun day. I've already spoken with briefly about it with Ms. Faulkner about collaborating with the sisters, so I want to invite all of y'all. It's a safe event that we have every year. We actually putting a name to it now. We started out as just friends who grew up in the neighborhood to say, hey, let's do a give back. Whether we do school give back or we just want to give back to the community, just try to build the community up. So it's August 19th. That's on a Saturday. It's going to start at noon, right around 12 o'clock noon. You guys all are invited to come out. It's a community building fun day that we do. We have bounce houses, clowns, a couple dance groups going to come out and perform. It's going to be a nice event. So I want to invite you guys to, which will be officially the Men of the Community first, but it's our 5th annual fun day, August 19th. Okay, guys. So you guys are all invited.
Where will it be? Where will it be and what time?
It'll be on 22nd and Wayne. It will be. It's going to start at noon. We tend to block the street off from Wayne to Perry, and we'll set up a stage out there and bounce houses and clowns, face painting clowns, bring the kids out. We'll have free hot dogs for the kids. There'll be some vendors out there. It'll be a nice community event. We'll have tables, chairs, tents for you guys to come out, so you guys are welcome out. And invite somebody. You guys want to come out and hand out brochures or whatever you have going on. You want to hand out pamphlets. Invite someone out. So we want to just invite you guys out to that event, okay? And everyone out to that event, all right?
Yeah.
All right, thanks. Guys.
Anthony, thanks for all you do, man. I appreciate it.
That's right by that ice cream place. I went to it last year. They got, yeah. Anyone else from the community to be heard? Any other citizens to be heard? Any other citizens to be heard? Thank you. Moving on to ordinances for final passage.
Ma'am, did you want to speak? I see your hand raised before you.
Oh, sorry.
My city is Erie, PA, and I live on Glendale. But I see some kids, you know, if they had real counselors around and go places to learn to read and everything, and transportation and places for them to go where they'll stay out of trouble, where they, you know, before it get too bad, and they need more help out there. And you know, they're just regular kids, but they're getting there. And you know, people shouldn't have to deal with this all the time. And there's where places they should go, like maybe like the centers or something, where you know they can study, and maybe preachers are coming in the community to make a help too. You know, besides other people, and maybe you could give us a hand sometime. You know, because these kids really need help. There's some good kids, but other kids will lead them that way. But they need all the help they could get. You know, because they don't have it. Especially in the poorer areas in there. And they do need help. Okay, thank you. I appreciate you do something about that.
All right, let me try this again while watching. Any other public comments? Any other public comments? Yeah, come on up.
Yep, you got
Just walk on up.
And give your name and address.
You get 5 minutes and just provide your name and address at the beginning.
Good morning, Council. My name is Richard Adams. I'm an electrical contractor. I live in the city of Erie, 4301 Stanley Avenue. I've been doing this all my life. My father was an electrician before me. I don't get why we can't walk into City Hall up into the inspection office anymore. What's the holdup? Pandemic's over. You used to be able to come in here, drop your things off, talk to the inspector. Now it's all no face-to-face. Our mayor said to us he wanted everyone to be friendly. Well, how can we be friendly if we're not talking to anybody? I don't know the new girls in the office. I used to know all the girls in the office. You know, if you needed something, you could call them and ask them. They'd find out. It was personalized, you know. I don't want to offend anybody. I just don't understand why it's so removed. And I think we need to make a plan to do it, not just me up here telling you that this is my complaint. I don't want to sound like I'm complaining to you, but if you're going to complain, you got to complain to the people that can do something, and that's City Council. So help us out here, every one of us. Every one of the contractors is frustrated with it. Another example, courtesy parking lot. Why is it every time we come here it's full of police cars? They're in our courtesy spots. Not the car, the police car, but somebody that works here. That's not right. I complained to Jim Winarski about it, and he told me, well, we'll get you a spot down in the garage. And I'm like, that's not the answer. And I'm not mad at them. I get it, you know. But at some point, really, aren't we defeating the purpose of people coming down? You're here to serve us. We're paying somebody, everybody in here. Little help, council, please, for all of us. I'm not scolding you. Please don't be offended. I'm trying to understand, and it just seems that the further we go, the further we're walking away from one another. We can't talk to one another. How are we ever going to become friends? Kindness goes a long way. I appreciate your time. Thank you for letting me speak.
Thank you.
Have a good summer.
You too.
Any other public comment? Any other public comment? Any other public comment? Moving on to ordinances for final passage.
Council file number 16368, official ordinance 45-2023, an ordinance appropriating the sum of $325,000 from unappropriated and unanticipated revenue for the expenditure thereof. Funds are granted from the Pennsylvania DCED local share account for bomb squad response vehicle equipment. Sponsored by Mr. Nelson, seconded by Mr. Troop. The Council Ordinance Bill Number 16368, and now known as Official File Ordinance 45-2023, be finally passed by City Council. Mr. Brzezinski, Ms. Faulkner, Ms. Flores, Mr. Keys, Mr. Troop, Mr. Witherspoon, Mr. Nelson. City Council pass Official File Ordinance 45-2023 by yeas 7, nays 0. Council File Number 16371, an ordinance, Official Ordinance 46-2023, an ordinance appropriating the sum of $613,648 from unappropriated and anticipated revenue to provide for the expenditure thereof for the construction phase of the City of Erie milling and asphalt resurfacing, federal aid local routes, various streets, PennDOT Transportation Alternatives Program Grant Agreement R22010007 and R22010006 and ECMS 119002. Sponsored by Mr. Troop, seconded by Mr. Witherspoon. The Council File Ordinance Number 16371, and now known as Official File Ordinance 46-2023, be finally passed by City Council. Mr. Brzezinski, Ms. Faulkner, Ms. Flores, Mr. Keys, Mr. Troop, Mr. Witherspoon, Mr. Nelson. City Council pass Official File Ordinance 46-2023 by yeas 7, nays 0. Council File Number 16372, Official Ordinance 47-2023, an ordinance appropriating the sum of $7,000 from unappropriated and unanticipated revenue for the expenditure thereof. Funds are from the LERTA fees collected in the Community Reinvestment Fund. Sponsored by Mr. Nelson, seconded by Ms. Flores. The Council File Ordinance Bill Number 16372, and now known as Official File Ordinance 47-2023, be finally passed by City Council. Mr. Brzezinski, Ms. Faulkner, Ms. Flores, Mr. Keys, Mr. Troop, Mr. Witherspoon, Mr. Nelson. City Council pass Official File Ordinance 47-2023 finally by yeas 7, nays 0. Council File Number 16373, Official Ordinance 48-2023, an ordinance appropriating the sum of $18,000 from unappropriated and unanticipated revenue for the expenditure thereof. Funds are from the LERTA fees collected in the Community Reinvestment Fund. Sponsored by Mr. Nelson, seconded by Ms. Flores. The Council File Ordinance Bill Number 16373, and now known as Official File Ordinance 48-2023, be finally passed by City Council. Mr. Brzezinski, Ms. Faulkner, Ms. Flores, Mr. Keys, Mr. Troop, Mr. Witherspoon, Mr. Nelson. City Council pass Official File Ordinance 48-2023 finally by yeas 7, nays 0. Council File Number 16374. Official Ordinance 49-2023.
Motion to table? Do we need to read it first? Yeah, motion to table.
Second.
There's a motion to table Council File Number 16374, Official Ordinance 49-2023. Mr. Brzezinski, Ms. Faulkner, Ms. Flores, Mr. Keys, Mr. Troop, Mr. Witherspoon, Mr. Nelson. Motion to table passes yeas 7, nays 0. Council File Number 16-375, Official Ordinance 50-2023.
Motion to table.
Second.
Motion to table Council File Ordinance 16-375, Official Ordinance 50-2023. Mr. Brzezinski, Ms. Faulkner, Ms. Flores, Mr. Keys, Mr. Troop, Mr. Witherspoon, Mr. Nelson. Motion to table passes 7-0. Okay, ordinances for first reading. Council File Number 16-376, an ordinance appropriating the sum of $4 million from unappropriated and anticipated revenue to be received as a transfer from the Residential Construction and Development Revolving Loan Fund. These funds will be utilized in the Urban Core Economic Recovery Revolving Loan Fund. Sponsored by Mr. Keys, seconded by Ms. Faulkner. The Council File Ordinance Number 16-376, having been read, is hereby adopted on first reading by City Council. Mr. Brzezinski, Ms. Faulkner, Ms. Flores, Mr. Keys, Mr. Troop, Mr. Witherspoon, Mr. Nelson. City Council read and adopt Council File Ordinance Number 16-376 by yea 7, nay 0 on first reading. Mr. President, this takes us to new business.
Motion to move the balance.
Second.
Any separations?
Number 2.
Any other separations?
No.
Moving the balance of the agenda, Mr. Brzezinski, Ms. Faulkner, Ms. Flores, Mr. Keys, Mr. Troop, Mr. Witherspoon, Mr. Nelson. Motion passes 7-0. Reading number 2, sponsored by Mr. Nelson, seconded by Mr. Brzezinski. Resolved by the Council of the City of Erie that the proper city officials are authorized and directed to designate East 4th Street between French and Holland Streets as Monsignor Henry Kriegel Way for its 52 years of dedicated service to the Diocese of Erie, spending his last assignment for 12 years at St. Patrick's Church. Discussion?
Yeah, I maybe suggest that we do something more than a little green sign. Last time we had Mr. Brennan work on a special sign for Mr. Hagan on West 6th Street. I think Father Kriegel should have more than a little aluminum sign. If we're going to do it, we should probably do it right.
We had some parishioners reach out, and I'm really excited to see the Monsignor recognized. He had a large retirement party at the time during our last council meeting where I gave his parishioners assurance that we would be able to get this on this agenda so that he could be assured that we would be recognizing him. So they made that announcement. We would have done it last meeting, but we were worried he'd find out on the agenda that somebody would tip him off. So we had to wait. So I'm excited to be a part of this and looking forward to recognizing him in some way. Call for the vote. Call for the vote.
Mr. Brzezinski, Ms. Faulkner, Ms. Flores, Mr. Keys, Mr. Troop, Mr. Witherspoon, Mr. Nelson. Motion passes yea 7, nay 0. This takes us to committee reports.
Yeah. Any volunteers to start this thing off?
I'll go.
All right, we'll go from right to left.
a sad day and yet a happy day. We're going to be losing Mike Outlaw, former East High Warrior, by the way. Did an awful lot of good things for this city, and he was recognized for it. He's going to be doing it now for 5 different states here along the Atlantic coast. Mike Outlaw, we're going to miss you. We're going to see you at room 33 tomorrow night to officially say goodbye. There's Mike. And thank you for all the things you did, all those ice cream cones for the kids. They'll never forget you. We won't either. Other than that, Ms. Slomsky took over as assistant director at the Port Authority. Talked to Mr. Pine, and everything is going along schedule, in fact, better than schedule with the Civic Center. And that kind of wraps it up. It's summertime, and everybody wants to get as much done as they can get done and still get as much sun as they can, too. Thank you. Have a good day.
I don't really have much of a committee report. We have meetings coming up in the coming weeks. We have a blighted property meeting coming up and then an EMTA meeting coming up, but I can report on those at the following meeting. It's summertime, so there's lots of community events and lots of community functions, so I try to make sure that I attend as much as possible. So if you would like us to show up to anything, I definitely recommend that you let the clerk's office know so that we can maybe fit it in our regular work schedule and our city council schedule. I pride myself on trying to be very available to my community, so I would like to go forward with that as well. I also recommend that people pay attention to the 814 concert series. That's almost coming to an end. And then we have Celebrate Erie also coming up soon. It'll be at the end of the month. So I definitely recommend that people look up the website so that you know when these functions are going on. I also wanted to take a moment to address the young man who was shot in our community. Bullets don't have names, and it is a risk for a community to be at danger of just going out and being in your community and possibly being shot because other people have weapons that they might not necessarily have licenses for or should even have access to. So I do applaud the gentlemen who are making time for the community in our city because, you know, you need to be the role model you didn't get to see as a child. And I pride myself on trying to be the person that I wasn't able to see as a young person. I had a bunch of adults that I didn't want to be anything like growing up, and I pride myself that I'm nothing like a lot of people. So you have to make sure that we encourage our young people to be the best that they can be, but we also need to make sure that we're available to them. So I do recommend that, you know, we do support the young people in our community because we have to be big brothers and big sisters. I'm the oldest of 13, and I know that sometimes kindness is the best way. Thank you.
Councilman Keys.
I would just like to echo some of the personal comments from the concerns from the citizens and from Ms. Councilwoman Flores, that we have to take a more holistic approach at looking at the violence in our city. And some things do cost money, and we do need to invest in things for our youth, infrastructure for our youth, and it takes a village. It takes a more robust involvement from the community at large, and so you know, just, you know, look at yourselves, you know, look at the people in your family, you know, see if you have an hour or two here or there to support a local initiative or something that's going on with the youth. That's my challenge until, you know, the next time I see you. Support one of these organizations, some of their events.
Lemonade
that'd be a good thing to do.
Whatever they have going on.
Mr. Witherspoon.
Thank you, Mr. President. Wanted to congratulate Mr. Outlaw. His moving to another position is a good move for him, but it is a loss for us. I enjoyed working with him throughout the years, time that I've known him. He has supported just about everything we've done, and we're losing a good man. I wanted to thank Mr. Hamer, Big Dog, and Roe and Jamal and Bill Heath for coming down today. Believe it or not, it was a surprise to me. But our league is about kids. It's not about me. It's just a name. And we're celebrating 33 years right now. And hopefully I can do another 33 years. I don't know if I'll be sitting up here though. But it's about our future. It's about a kid. And when a 9-year-old gets shot, there's nothing else to say about that. But we took immediately, as Mr. Benjamin stated, immediately we supported the family. And it wasn't about basketball. It's about supporting a family that was in need immediately. And Bill will never say it, but he came in a very big way and helped that family in total. Jamal has, I believe, 5 other brothers and sisters, and Bill helped that entire family. Thank you, sir.
Councilman Troop.
Thanks, Mr. President. First, I want to start off by echoing Mr. Brzezinski's comments about Michael Outlaw. We grew up in the same neighborhood, so I always say we went from the neighborhood to City Hall, Woodlawn, Glendale area. I believe we sat in the same classroom from kindergarten to 5th grade, Burton Bumblebees. So congratulations on everything you've done, helped our city. I'm sure the city will still be at heart. You'll be willing to help and even in your new position. So, and whoever fills your shoes definitely has big shoes to fill. So, also wanted to announce an event that I'm doing on August 13th. I've been doing this event since 2010 annually. It's called Blues for Shoes. It's a fundraiser for kids. We local musicians come together. As you know, I'm a musician. It'll start at 4 o'clock at the Big Bar, and we raise money for school supplies for youth. We've raised thousands of dollars over the years, and then we give those school supplies, clothes, sneakers, away to youth of the community. So that's August 13th. I want to thank all the local musicians who have done it over the years and those who will be doing it again this year. Like I said, most people in the community really do care. If you just ask them to help out, they will help out. I want to echo Rose's comments too. Malcolm X kind of made a quote one day about leadership in some of these inner city communities. And he kind of said in his book, like, some of the leaders aren't always the guys that are wearing the suits. And that's what Malcolm X kind of said. Some of the biggest leaders in some of these inner cities, in some of these neighborhoods, in any neighborhood, are not always the people who are on TV or, you know, with the suit on. Some of them are the guys that live right, or people, mothers and fathers that live right in the neighborhood that you don't ever hear about. So we do want to take, you know, and he's one of those type of people in our community. So, Mr. President, that's all I have. Thank you.
Hey, Mr. President, we're talking about fundraising. How do we have a little Big Dog spoon one-on-one? Charge $25 to come in? We'll take care of the kids.
Better have the cardiac unit there.
They do slow-mo. Just a thought.
All right.
Councilwoman Faulkner.
All right. I want to start with something that is not necessarily a committee report, but is something that's important public information. A recent study came out that up to 700,000 Pennsylvanians are at risk of losing their Medicaid and CHIP coverage. This is massive, and this is because the end of pandemic era relief around Medicaid and CHIP. So please, if you know folks in your life who access those benefits, or you yourself are on Medicaid, or you have a child in your life who is on CHIP, please log in to compass.state.pa.us or just search PA Medicaid or PA Compass. This would be, we already see the root causes of violence, such as poverty, impacting our community with shootings and increased violence. Losing your healthcare coverage, having some sort of accident, and being drowning in medical debt is another way that perpetuates poverty. And so whatever we can do to ensure that 700,000 fellow Pennsylvanians do not lose coverage is key. So it takes a village, as it does with anything, with our youth and families. On top of that, I received some information from members of the public surrounding the quality of life ticketing, and I know we talked about the increases of those fines to try to address things like blight and neglectful landlords. I've received pictures of some properties that seem vacant, that just are not on code enforcement's radar, places like 2407 June Street, which is 16510. So I will send that information to code enforcement as well, but I just encourage the public, if you do see those blighted properties in your neighborhood, reach out to the Citizen Response Center, reach out to City Hall, so that we can have better information on that and ensure that that program is enforced. So general committee report. As public safety liaison, I met with police leadership last week. We talked about mostly positive trends with our crime statistics at the 6-month mark for the city, which is good to see. The one area where that is not trending in the right direction is around sexual assault and rape in our city. This is a chief concern, especially as a young woman, so I encourage folks and survivors to reach out to the Crime Victim Center. Their email is, or their website is cbcerie.org, or their phone number is 814-455-9414. We saw positive momentum and reductions in crime in every area of our city except for sexual assault and rape. So this is something that I'm going to continue to talk to police leadership about, so we can better address as a community at large, whether it's education or prevention. It's been a very busy time for police. The last 2 weeks there was around 1,300 calls per week for service. In 48 hours last week there were 4 people shot, including 2 children. So I think, as all of us have echoed today, that is a real crisis that needs a collective response. Fire as well possibly set a record for calls for service with 395 calls for service last week, including 3 building fires. Aside from that, myself and Vice President Flores have been working really diligently over the last 4 months to talk about housing solutions. We held a special meeting 2 weeks ago on community housing resources. It was a really great chance to bring different leaders to the table, as well as folks who have experienced homelessness, to understand what are some area issues where we need policy reform, where there's barriers to service. So that was a great start to a conversation, as well as last week's DCD subcommittee meeting with Councilman Keys. I was very frustrated to hear from our city department that there's a delay in service in folks being able to access home rehab funds, first-time home ownership funds, for one simple reason, and that is because we have a lack of lead-certified contractors in the city. The Redevelopment Authority used to offer funds for that certification, and so this is some red tape that I am personally outraged over, and definitely we need to do something about. So it is a travesty that service is being held up simply for a lack of certified contractors. So that's not a good enough reason to slow down those kinds of services. Additionally, I've been working with local and state lawyers and advocates who specialize in displacement-free development and homelessness prevention to talk about possible ordinances to prevent unnecessary evictions, especially for low-income residents. This is often the point where someone does become homeless or can no longer access public housing because they have an eviction on their record. So I'm looking at just cause eviction ordinance possibly for the city. I appreciate President Nelson, Vice President Council, and City Solicitor Betza for meeting with me last week to talk about those solutions. It's not always the most fun thing to talk about policy reform and housing policy reform, but when we live in a state that does not have strong tenant protections, we have to do more at the city level to protect folks.
Right.
I think that's it.
Thank you. A couple questions for my colleagues. Did you say it's not fun to address policy? Is that what I heard out of you?
It's not always the most fun thing to address those behind the scenes.
I got a different impression from you over the last few months, Ms. Faulkner.
I personally love it, but I think there are some things in our city where we are addressing the problem once it happens and not the symptoms that lead to it.
And then I heard you give that address. Mo, have you been mowing your lawn? That address is real close to your house, isn't it? All right, just check.
Like,
it sounded pretty close. I wasn't sure.
Like, wait, no, that's not me. I'm like, you've been performing a lot.
All right. I think that a lot of the work I've been doing has been reported in the press lately. So we tabled 2 ordinances for CRIS. I came home Monday after meeting with Mr. Witherspoon and the mayor, and I told my wife that, and then I shared it on Facebook because I thought it was witty, how much I appreciate how council works together for consensus while not being averse to conflict. So, I think that council had come together very nicely to build consensus and address concerns of certain stakeholders. However, as both of them have been tabled today, CRIS is not a program that's currently open in Harrisburg. There are some things that need to be worked out before it would be open, and we can't at this time have the city getting ahead of Harrisburg. And that's just where we're at today. We'll continue to have a lot of meetings, as has been exhausting for the last couple months, and I think Renee is probably the most exhausted from any of it. But I've been really happy with the support and the progress that's occurred in these last couple weeks. Encouraged about how that's going to look moving forward, and I'm still hopeful that that progress will reach a conclusion that is beneficial to our city. That's all I really have to report on the matter, and that's pretty much been all my work lately. Mr. Solicitor? Oh, sorry. Chief Staff?
I have a few things. First, I want to say, Spoons Basketball League is one of the best programs I think we have at the city. It's engaged thousands of students in the last 33 years and really saved a lot of lives, I think, and appreciate all that you have done, Councilman. Also, last night was National Night Out, and I know I saw a lot of you out and about. We got to 13 of the ones in the city. We missed a couple, I think, but it was really great to be out and to see everybody and to just, be in the neighborhood with people. On the CRIS, just to kind of echo Council President Nelson, I think we're moving pretty quickly, and that's because we want to be prepared if and when the window does open. And it looks like the state is going to be making some changes to the CRIS, and so we just want to make sure with our ordinance that we're incorporating that and that we're we're covering all of our bases before we pass something. So hopefully we'll be able to move quickly on that. As Councilwoman Flores mentioned, we have 2 more of the 814 concert series coming up. The next one is Sunday, August 6th. We have the Drum Circle at 4 o'clock in Franklin Park on West 7th and Marne Road. And then at 5:30, we're going to have a special performance by the Cadets. And then at 6 o'clock, West Indian Revelation will be playing. So we're looking forward to that. And then on Monday night, we have Sounds of Summer. This one will be at Nightingale Nursing Home at 7 p.m., 607 East 26th Street. And we have the Erie Trombone Collective playing. And then, just quickly here, because we won't have another council meeting before, the last 814 concert series will be at Baker Field at East 32nd and Holland with The Groove at 6 p.m., and that's August 13th. And of course, Drum Circle at 4 o'clock. We always do the Drum Circle first. And then on the 14th, the final Sounds of Summer will be at Curry Shell Apartments at 7 p.m. Monday, August 14th, and that's with the Presque Isle Little Big Band. And then after that, we launch into Celebrate Erie that Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So it's going to be a very busy time, but we look forward to seeing everybody out. The 814 concert series has continued to grow each week, and it's really great that we can bring music to our neighborhoods within the urban core. On the Roger Young resolution, we look forward to seeing the proposal for that. And I just want to update everyone. We're in the process of working with DCNR, who provided us with a grant to do a comprehensive citywide Parks and Rec plan. And we've been, informed by several granting agencies that once we have that plan complete, then we will be able to go after grant funds. And so we're looking forward to doing that. We have $4 million in ARP funding set aside to be used on parks within the qualified census tracts to make improvements to our community. And there will be a lot of community outreach and input into that plan. And then finally, I just want to thank Michael for everything he's done for the city the last 5.5 years, and wish him well on this next chapter in his career. Thank you, sir.
City Council adjourns at 10:04 a.m. Mr. Nelson, Mr. Brzezinski, Ms. Faulkner, Ms. Flores, Mr. Keys, Mr. Troop, Mr. Witherspoon.